Welcome to the Slow Show. I'm your host, Slow Jeremy Brown. This is the show where I show you how slow I am and why that is, and hopefully it'll help you. It has done something to me. Let's get started. So, I heard about the young lady named Brittney Griner in Russia, and I hear that they want to do a trade. She's there for 6 more months. Terrible. They want to do a trade for a man named Victor Bout, and they refer to him as the Merchant of Death. Let's get past that real quick, just to show you how my brain works. Merchant of Death. They may have called him that for some reason at some point, but that is not the real Merchant of Death. The real Merchant of Death, I knew, was Sarkis Soghanalinian. Sorry, my pronunciation is not going to be awesome. He is a Russian nicknamed Merchant of Death, was a Syrian, Lebanese, Armenian international private arms dealer who gained fame for being in the Cold War's largest arms merchant and the lead seller of firearms and weaponry to the former government of Iraq under Saddam Hussein. It's called The Notorious Mr. Bout. I just did a Biden. I read the line. I'm sorry. I apologize. The Notorious Mr. Bout. You should watch the trailer. It portrays him as a family man, and then a patsy for someone to go down. And it also kind of sounds like he was probably working for the Americans, most likely. I mean, I'm pretty sure all these guys are working with the Americans, right? It's kind of Iran Contra-y. You get it? They're all the same guys over and over again. I'm pretty sure the dude that got busted selling the guns in Afghanistan, the international arms dealer is the same guy that gave the information that there were weapons of mass destruction. How about that? I can't remember that guy's name. I should have it handy. I'll try to be more prepared. This is the first episode. Why don't you fucking relax? But that's real. But that's how it works. It's all blah, blah, blah. But you gotta read and shit. And I'm about to show you that you gotta read. It is just the Russia thing, and then you go to Ukraine, and they're like, there's Nazis. There's Nazis in the Ukraine. And that's crazy. We're sending them tons of money. We don't support Nazis. We don't have Nazis here. I have avoided reading about French and German history extensively. It's because I get so obsessed. This all started with who's Brittney Griner. How about that? That's how we started here. And now we're here. How about that? So I didn't want to learn about Nazis and shit just because, then what if I talk about all the shit I learn about, and then I'm talking about this shit, and then people are like, are you sympathetic? This is the first episode, and I'm gonna fucking be done. But anyway, so I've avoided learning about all that shit, but you learn about it here. What I do like to learn about is the Central Intelligence Agency. And oddly enough, if you start learning about the CIA, you start getting books with these things popping on them. There's another one. They're around, and it's insanity how they just start popping up on things. But this is the intelligence groups that I'm trying to learn about. I wasn't trying to learn about them, but they're in there. But anyway, so I jump over to Ukraine, and I'm reading about far-right neo-Nazi group has expanded, become part of the Ukraine's armed forces, a street militia, and a political party. This is from Al Jazeera. This is from Stanford. Center of International Security and Cooperation. Executive summary. The Azov Battalion is an extreme right nationalist paramilitary organization based in Ukraine. Founded in 2014, the group promotes Ukrainian nationalism and neo-Nazism through its National Militia Paramilitary Organization and National Corps political wing. It is notable for its recruitment of far-right foreign fighters from the U.S. and Europe, as well as its extensive transnational ties to other far-right organizations. I didn't even know there were a lot of... I mean, I guess I did, but jeez, I didn't... Still popping. Still going. In 2022, the group came to prominence again, fighting against Russian forces in Kiev. How do I say it? Kharkiv and Mariupol. About a year ago, I was reading Roger Reeves' Smuggler, and in some interviews, he mentioned this guy, Michael Levine, the big white lie. Okay? The CIA and the cocaine crack epidemic, an underground odyssey by Michael Levine. Michael Levine is fucking wild. He got hurt in a crack raid in 1989. Got put out of business, can't. And I think he may have already been writing by that point. I got it. Most of his books, Triangle of Death, he wrote that one as a fiction because he was terrified, I believe. This one preceded the CIA one. That one goes into the trafficking because he learned in the DEA. He kept running into the same problems. He'd get to places and they'd be like, yo, man, we get all our info, guns, money from the Central Intelligence Agency. They help us transport. They facilitate our operation. It's kind of fucking nuts. That one is about the Triangle of Death. That's about China and everything that came out of the Vietnam War, all these little jungle like kings that have been there for 20, 30 years helping move heroin out of there and shit. It's wild. That's just what that's about. But it's a fiction based on what he saw. This one is firsthand accounts, and the people that are involved are wild. It gets so crazy. So this is what I'm saying. This is how you can tell history. It repeats itself, and it slows me down when I realize it. So, look, when people tell you that your dog ate your homework, it's not bullshit. I thought it was bullshit, and my dog now eats my fucking books. It's crazy. So, this guy is a DEA agent. They're trying to bust cocaine. It's the 70s, 80s, right? He'd gone after the mob. He'd been super successful. This guy was one of the most successful DEA agents in history. So anyways, cocaine coup. This is what happened. Okay, explosions, gunfire, more men, combat fatigues, ski masks. These dudes are speaking Spanish, German, French, Italian. They're fucking going in and out. I mean, they start murdering people in the streets. They start Colonial Arce-Gomez, called Lucho, the leader of the coup, a pot-bellied gangster in the metal-laden uniform, ordnate military cap, and the dark glasses of Hollywood's classic Latin American dictator, Arce-Gomez, Suarez's cousin, turned the bloodthirsty neo-Nazis loose on his own people for the worst torture and killing spree in Bolivia's history. Okay, so this guy, hired these motherfuckers. You gotta understand, these dudes got hired. When they say he turned them loose, it just means he had money and he hired them. And it sounds like his cousin gave him the money, right? His cousin's this fucking cocaine guy. But you don't really know who he is. It ends up, this dude's still, he died, actually. He's dead now. But he died free, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Because his cousin got locked. They locked his fucking cousin up. His cousin got locked up. That's what happens, right? In August, all resistance was ended. As Minister of Interior, Arce-Gomez had a virtual monopoly of power within the Bolivia security apparatus and total control over the country's cocaine industry. Barbie, whom Arce-Gomez had once called my teacher, and who was also known as the Butcher of Lyon for the atrocities he committed against the French people during the reign of the Gestapo chief in the city and was made honorary colonel in the Bolivian army and given command function in the state security apparatus. His expertise was in counterintelligence and the drug trade. Okay. So, this guy's a Nazi, and they hired him. What the fuck is he doing in South America? Right? What's going on here? Of course, everybody, when I say Klaus, there's a different Klaus everybody thinks we're talking about these days, but we're going to stay the fuck away from that guy for right now. So, this guy, Klaus Barbie. I have so much more pictures. I have a lot more information on this guy. I'll probably talk about him more because I didn't mean to fall into this. Like, who's Brittney Griner? Now I got Klaus Barbie. The shocking story of how the U.S. used the Nazi war criminal as an intelligence agency. All right, check this out. So, when all this shit hits the fan, right? France has people that have been looking for these fucking Nazis. Okay? I'm not going to go into it really right now, but I got this one too that I'm reading right now just because I just picked all this back up. And this is about Klaus Barbie, how he became a Nazi, blah, dad's a drunk, I couldn't go to college, became a fucking spy, pretty much. But they weren't called spies then. Counterintelligence. But what he really did, what he became an expert in, it says it right here. It says, their career that eventually to make Klaus Barbie notorious throughout the world, the profession of an expert counter-guerrilla leader, it had begun. Okay, this guy, his fucking expertise is counter-guerrilla shit. It's what he did with the Nazis. He started doing it in 1940. This book goes into a lot of shit, but and he was good at it. And he went into Holland and he fucked Amsterdam up. He really, really did terrible things and sent a lot of people off. He stole the Altmann name. He stole it from a Catholic priest that ran away from those motherfuckers and got away to Holland where he was allowed to live. And then he came in there and sent him to a concentration camp. I think he lasted like 8 weeks. I hope it was a shorter period of time, to be honest, but dude died very quickly. And he was apparently a really good person. So he steals his identity, whatever. He calls it taking a new name. And I haven't gotten to it yet in here, but from what I understand, it was with the help of U.S. intelligence and the Vatican. For whatever reason, those people are all working together. And a lot of reasons, but I can't go into everything right now. But, so, they help him get to South America. In this book, the reason this book is written, it's written by his U.S. intelligence control officer. The reason this is written is because when France finds out this motherfucker's in South America, they go get his ass and bring his ass back to France. To, what the fuck? What are you doing down there? How'd you get down there? Barbie was stoic as fuck, to be honest, because, like, at the end of World War II, all these Nazis could go work wherever they fucking wanted. And most of them would just switch over to the other side. They go work for Russia. A lot of them did. Especially the intelligence guys. That's how the KGB became so strong, right? They got a lot of guys. Well, that's how the CIA got strong, too. They took fucking guys like this. And what you start to put together, right, is... it's fucking crazy. So I'm reading about Klaus Barbie. The only reason this is written by this guy is because the United States of America wanted to know. Look, dog eating books. It's crazy. It's literally written who hired Klaus Barbie. People were like, why does this guy work for us? And they wanted to know. I mean, this is basically just like a report to let the American people, they had to be told something. I mean, it explains USSR friction leading up to it. And it definitely, in this book, it doesn't explain that they got Klaus Barbie because he basically understood how to manipulate the geography of an area and take the population, make some of them hostile, and literally remove a group if you want. We can just take them out and have them, we can disappear them in a couple fucking days, to be honest. That's what this guy did. He wasn't the great. He wasn't the evil, twisted, manipulated minds that thought up the solution or whatever the fuck they want to call that disgusting shit. He was the gun on the ground, but he actually avoided. It seemed like the slaughters of, but he figured out the counterintelligence to get people on trains to manipulate groups of people, and if that included the slaughtering, he wasn't adverse to it. He definitely would have done it. They just kept moving him around. Apparently, once he was made a full member of the SS, they utilized him. Once he was a real officer, he was moving around doing shit. Really cleared all of Holland, cleared all of France, did it really fucking fast. And the U.S., they wanted people like that. And they also wanted people like Barbie. Barbie, at the end of the war, he's like, I am not gonna talk to the East. He was like, fuck them. He said, fuck Russia. He said, fuck the communists. Where he was from, the town where he was from, was in the Rhineland and kind of the Rhine. Trier. Okay? So that's where he grew up, and it was constantly being fucked with. His dad went to World War One, and got shot, and was kind of fucked up when he came back, and was drunk, and he didn't like communism. He didn't like people fucking telling him what to do. To be honest, it's really seemed like he wanted to get out of his station in life. He just kind of accepted being a Nazi. He excelled at this guerrilla warfare shit. So much so, if you examine it, okay? So he goes to South America and starts doing that shit, what I was explaining in The Big White Lie, the cocaine coup, where they literally, Suarez's cousin became I can't even remember what they called him, but something of cocaine, the minister of cocaine, takes over Bolivia. They fill up the Bolivian bank, the national bank vaults, with cocaine paste. This is Suarez's niece, Sonia Atala, which I'm sure that's not her name. That's what they call her in this book. You can't really find any pictures of her because she's in the witness protection program, because she flipped on all of them with Michael Levine at the end of this book, blah, blah, blah. But it's a great book. You should read it. They should make it a movie. How about that? They don't make any of these stories movies. It's fucking nuts. Sonia Tala was the niece, and she had her own regiment of neo-Nazis, of these Italians, fascists, mixed group. But they all escaped down to South America because they were still building the world in South America. It's still a developing world, so they can take advantage of the situation. It's the same thing that America was trying to do by pushing communism out, was take advantage to take the resources. That's really what it was. I mean, corporations already had control of everything. The Central Intelligence Agency was just a tool. All these paramilitary groups that they were forming out of Nazis and fascists, they just use these people as tools to get what they need, which is usually resources, to extract the money from the places. And then they just, now look at the border. Now they're like, the border of the United States is terrible. Huh. Well, what'd you do down there in the 70s and the 80s? Why didn't it develop correctly? I mean, that's what happens. But anyway, whatever. France got his ass. They took him back. So, and all this started. Think about this. This is 1980, and what happens? Like in 1981, the CIA gets a new head chief. They get, and he was the 41st president, actually. But this was before that. See, in 1980, he ran for president. Mr. George Walker Bush, Poppy Bush. He ran for president, and he didn't. People didn't like him. So they put him in head of CIA, which the CIA was not trusted at this point. It had gotten out that they had been overthrown in Africa, and people didn't fucking trust them. And Bush had most likely already been working on a financial side of the CIA before this in the 70s with oil. There's a great book called Family of Secrets by Russ Baker that is around here somewhere. It goes into Zapata oil and all that. But Bush takes over in 81. And you got to realize, at this time, the CIA is training the Taliban. What are they training them in? Guerrilla warfare, right? Insurgency. That's what that's what he did. He was in South America doing it in proxy wars, training people. He was training the minister in Bolivia who called him his teacher. This dude that I haven't gotten to it in here, so I'm gonna say I'm not gonna say that. I think they helped him escape World War II, escape France after he helped kill like 140,000 people, maybe more, maybe less, enough, right? And then he, imagine taking over the CIA when they've been fucking up over and over and over again, and then you're so bold that you get people involved in trafficking cocaine, the crack epidemic, like what Gary Webb exposes. I mean, and if you think about it, he takes over the CIA and he puts in his time, and then he becomes president. But what's hilarious, guess what was happening during all this, and which is involved in all this situation? In Arkansas, their Barry Seal is fucking just shoving cocaine up Arkansas's butthole. All right, getting out of trouble by who? The governor. The governor, Mr. Who? Bill Clinton. And who was governor before Bill Clinton? Oh, that's right, Mr. Rockefeller. Like, these things are not coincidence. If you read Tragedy and Hope, which I don't want to disparage the writers of this book, but it was written by 3 fucking people. And it's just these, they make sense if you read them over and over again. But long drawn out fucking sentences, like, you need to tighten it up. That fucking book is written amazingly, impeccably. I'm like on page fucking 30. I literally had to stop and read a bunch of books. Just, I wasn't smart enough. Straight up, I'm slow. And I get lost. Who is Brittney Griner? You see? But what's funny is, remember, all this started because they wanted to train Brittney Griner for, I thought, Arce-Gomez, the Merchant of Death, which is a lie. They wanted him for Nicolas Cage, Victor Bout. But that's a lie too. It's all bullshit. The real Merchant of Death is this Arce-Gomez who worked for the CIA while George W. Bush ran it. That, like, they're showing you what the fuck it is. Sigil Magic's Tripoli. How you like them apples? Sigil Magic popping in front of you. They're just showing you. But they lied to you openly. This is on fucking Wikipedia, right? It's crazy. I mean, in all this, because who's Brittney Griner and who is Victor Bout, and I know the Merchant of Death, but this is how my brain works. How you like them apples, huh? So I hope this helped you. I'll continue doing this. Um, yeah, we'll run into all these names and shit again. So good day to you. Slow it down.